The neon era, Pat. We're here. We're doing it.
Yeah, we're doing it.
Our shirts are tight. Our hair is straight. We're looking sexually into the camera lens. And we've got The Great Escape.
We're wearing headbands, question mark?
I am. I know I am.
Unironically. Yeah.
I think I had this like $28 piece of orange elastic I got at American Apparel in Pittsburgh, and I wore it all the time.
You said American Apparel. I was waiting for you to be like, I'm single-handedly keeping the Erie Pack Sun afloat.
No. Oh no! By the neon era, I was traveling 100-some miles to Pittsburgh to go to American Apparel because that's the most 2000
Flash
thing you
over substance, baby. According to Chris Carabas, that is the era we're in. All these OG emo dudes are, I think, probably jealous of. We mentioned this last week. Cork Tree and Fever You Can't Sweat Out, but I don't think they're jealous of the career arcs of some of these bands.
Yeah.
Like the one we're about to talk about today. Gone before they even arrived, almost.
What is going on, everybody? I'm Tom.
And I'm Pat.
We're best friends, and you're listening to the Reminiscent Podcast.
We're going to be talking about the music video for, as you mentioned, I think, The Great Escape. Or did you mention that?
I don't know. Boys like girls.
Been doing this for years, folks, and it's easy to tell. Anyway, that's what we're doing. Probably, we talked about last week, Panic at the Disco's I Write Sins Not Tragedies being a very popular ringtone. But if you would have asked me, I would have guessed that this would have been the most popular pop punk, I guess, ringtone of the decade.
Okay.
I just remember the hook coming in hot, real hot. Like there was a year in high school where people would go down the hall singing like late album cuts from Under the Cork Tree. And then 2 years went by and a person in every clique had a Boys Like Girls t-shirt. I'm like, what the f*** just happened? You know what I mean? Like, where are they even buying this shirt? Like Sam Cray, one of our Sherpas, was, all of a sudden on a dress down day because we went to a school that had a strict dress code, you would say. But on the dress down day, people wanted their peers to know they were into Boys Like Girls. So, and we learned that they were. There you go. Anyway, yeah, gone but not forgotten, I guess. What are your thoughts when we decided to do this episode?
They occupied a very interesting time in, I think this would have been junior year. And I think my hairstyle at the time would have reflected this music video.
Yeah, unlike Max Bemis, your hair did reflect popular genres of music. with freaky accuracy.
Yeah. This is the straightest and longest my hair had ever been. The bangs were swooping from behind my ears. It was intense. There was so much hairspray.
Going from one eyebrow down to like a different cheek or something. Like, in movies, rock movies, where they're like, I'm with the band. You could have gone to so many Mayday Parade concerts for free at the time. In a good way. Yeah, I feel like my disclaimers after saying something loosely mean are never that great.
But
in a fun way. Yeah. But there was only so many like thick horizontal striped hoodies to go around. So it was a distinct look. You weren't the only. I mean, there was only so many scene looks to pick. I remember when Jake Gordon called me normcore. I was like, you, man. Like, that goes against being normcore. The whole point is that there's nothing to even put a name on. I hate you, because it was true. So, and I think it was just, I realize as I'm getting older that the things that make me the most mad are the things that are probably true. But it's like, hey, you, man. I'm not anything core, which makes you normcore. You, man.
It's a Kafka trap, they call it. It's like, so I learned that from Gray on Hello Internet. If you're like, man, you're being so defensive, and you're like, no, I'm not. Like, you have to be the thing they're claiming you to be in order to defend yourself. It's a Kafka trap. So, there you go. You had your own there.
So Jake Gordon's the normcore asshole. No, he's not normcore. Just kidding. And he's not an asshole. He's actually a very sweet boy.
He's like the nicest dude ever.
I know. And a pretty good cook. Really good cook. So
great bassist.
Yeah. Wow. We have nothing but nice things to say about Jake Gordon, as it turns out.
This is the Jake Gordon episode.
Just a sweet family, a nice family, honestly. You know, was over at their house last Christmas. Just delightful. Good conversation all around. But we're today, as you could tell, we're talking about Boys Like Girls. The music video and the ringtones. What are your stories? What are your memories? Let's reminisce for a bit, shall we?
Right. So my entire memory of this band existed in Mr. Bischoff's junior year English class. No, that would have been senior, right? I forget.
I don't know.
I think it might have been
think
junior.
we had a single class together. Did we?
I don't think we ever did.
No, dude.
We had one homeroom senior year of high school, and that was it.
How would we have had homeroom? There was real actual homeroom.
Oh no, sorry, not
you
homeroom.
were in Miss Rads.
Not study hall.
Oh, gotcha. Okay. Is that what we would use the study hall to like learn dances from High School Musical because you were secretly the mascot for like 2 weeks? It was like a secret for those 2 weeks, and you went to the academic decathlon pep rally. Our school was the worst. Anyway, had a big lion suit that we had some extra money in the Student Senate budget, and I don't know why we decided instead of one of a class trip or something. I think we were coming hot off pulling off a junior class trip, and we were like, we got some extra money? Oh, snap. Let's buy a fucking lion suit. Let's get the brand going. Let's get the mascot. We have a school identity going, which we didn't. So should have just used it on.
You know what? Piggybacking off of that, yeah, I was the first mascot, and I remember an emotional handoff to Mike McCaslin when I graduated. But, dude, okay, so you know when you like sign in to like random accounts and they ask you those like security questions? One of them was, what was your high school mascot? And my answer is myself. I forget what service it's for, but it's one of my security questions.
You were good, man. High energy, strangely athletic, sneaky athletic, as your current social media skateboard videos would suggest, or
and
prove.
Dummy thick,
I
right?
should say. No, I think you were like drummer drug skinny back in the day. No. Obviously, you're straight edge, so it wasn't real drugs. But
I wish.
Oh, you mean you got that? You got that ass? Yeah, you got that ass. I'm not gonna skate around that.
Exactly.
No, you had like a very lanky drummer skinny or drug skinny drummer look back in the day. I think you were obviously going to a lot of shows. Did you ever see Boys Like Girls live or any Neon Era band for that matter? Like
no.
I guess I'll ask you this: is this your favorite era of emo in the 2000s?
Wow. Well, okay.
Sub question: okay. Did you see any of these bands live?
I saw Forever the Sickest Kids at Warped Tour. That might be as neon as it got, but I do hold this era like very dear to my heart because it's when our band was most active in the music scene, and Erie, their music started going from more like grindcore and like metalcore to like pop punk. So, dude, because we were in this high school like pop punk garage band, as everything was like every band from Erie was Whitechapel essentially, and we were opening as this like, think of Blink-182's first demo, Fly Swatter. That was us basically, and then just like for like every fucking song after us. So when our scene started like morphing into a more like pop punk with some of our friends' bands that were coming up in the time, this music is what was popular. So I think that I remember this era like very fondly because of what was going on in my life surrounding these releases. I mean, what about you?
Yes.
Like, what was your impression of this whole?
I don't know. Everyone on Twitter got mad at me when I said All Time Low was Neon, and they were kind of weak. Not that I didn't love them.
Time.
I think I don't know. If Forever the Sickest Kids is Neon, then I don't know. Everybody. It is what it is. It's, you know, like anything that came after Cortrier. I mean, just like historically, right? This is the era we're talking about. I don't think I'm like disrespecting them by saying that's what they were. I'm saying my interpretation of my own enjoyment of it is that the same amount of enjoyment I talked about last week with the Panic at the Disco stuff. Like I was fucking super into it, but it was weaker than some of the shit that came before. I don't know. Like, this isn't groundbreaking stuff, I don't feel like, but I feel like some people on Twitter got after us a bit when we categorized All Time Low in this way. But, you know, that speaks to what happened, why is All Time Low still around, and why is Boys Like Girls not? Because I think what we came into here, there were so many t-shirts. You, and I'm interested to hear you expand on this, have memories with the album, not just this one. In my head, they're a one-hit wonder, but you were telling me on the phone the other day, you actually really liked this band. They had a decent album cover. It wasn't too weird. The band name was weak for what they got pigeonholed into in terms of, late 2000s emo, neon era, Hot Topic, super profitability stuff. The bangs got longer and straighter, flash of a substance type stuff. Like the profitability machine was churning pretty hardcore at this point, and spitting people out just as quick as it chewed them up, I guess. But your claim to me on the phone the other day was that Boys Like Girls, they had been done dirty. Like they deserved more. Was that you were trying to say? I'm just like, tell me about your love of the band itself.
So again, my memory of them exists in like one singular point in time, Mr. Bischoff's class. It's the only time I remember listening to this band or thinking about them. And it happened multiple times. But I was like, we were on the phone just kind of like, what are we going to talk about, a couple days ago. And I had kind of just like, without thinking, said like, oh yeah, they only had like the one song. And then I Googled it as I was saying it. And I was like, wait, I recognize every song on this album and like remember many of the lyrics. And it's a common theme. I don't know lyrics at all. So the fact that like not only are the song titles vaguely familiar, but I can like dig up lyrics from the choruses, I must have listened to this album a lot. I almost forget that I did, but like I remember Thunder being one of the first songs I played on acoustic, and Mr. Bischoff coming in and like our teacher coming in and talking about the song Thunder and just being like shocked that, oh, the teachers know about this band, Well,
he was also like the rock teacher, not
right.
The teacher of music. He taught English, but he was also like he'd be like, there's new Bayside? What the hell, guys? You didn't tell me? Like, I don't know if it was, to his credit, though, I don't think it was a fake trying to be cool thing. I just think he had a legitimate love of music.
Right. He's the teacher
he was in a band, actually.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, he had an EP he gave my sister when he was a younger teacher, because Katie went to our school, years before. And it was called Dick's Loft was the name of the band. And I thought they were pretty good. They had this song called Underground that I thought was, fine. It was like kind of, 90s grunge era dudes that probably were trying to go back to that time, maybe a little, but I thought it was fine. I mean, it definitely filled many snood hours for me. So, I really liked it. But yeah, so he was, he's the only teacher who's ever asked, what do you guys feel about the new Bayside album? Like that was just, it wasn't going to come from anybody other than him. So it's interesting that, you were able to have conversations about this. What do you remember about those conversations? He was into it or he was against it? Because even when Beyonce was coming out with like Halo and he'd be like, this is quality pop. Like he had like opinions about most new music. And I think he liked connecting with his students through that.
Right. And it wasn't even like a greetings, fellow youths type energy. Like he actually did like it. He was the one I mentioned a couple
You want to
episodes.
know one of the most OG rappers? I'm talking about my friend Bill Shakespeare. Am I right? Turns the chair around backwards and, sits on it like a youth counselor or something. That was not, what I'm saying is that's not what his vibe was.
Dude, turning the chair backwards is like the greatest visual. No, he was the teacher I mentioned a couple episodes ago that like almost took us to a Newfound Glory show out of town. But then like day of was like, guys, I don't think that would be appropriate. I'll just see you there.
Yeah. Yeah. That, he was right. And it was good of him.
Right.
Because there was like a cluster of, youngish adult dude teachers that played poker and stuff. And he was one of the good eggs. I guess that's what I'll say about that.
If you know our school's history in Erie, there were some not so good eggs.
Right. But he was not one of them. He was a fine,
smoked
like
awesome.
A chimney. But, definitely... And didn't even through the years try to hide it that much. I know we're going on a Mr. B thing. I remember I used to call him Mr. B as if it was a Boy Meets World scene every time I saw him. He played along. It was nice of him to indulge me. But he just stopped going. He went across the street to smoke at lunch and stuff. Instead of like going around the block after a while, he just like, whatever. Everyone knows. I don't care anymore. Anyway, so he liked Boys Like Girls, you're saying?
So he came into the class one day. Like he would try to do these like dramatic walk-ins to the classroom. And
yeah, dude, you can tell the days he was actually going to like try to teach because he'd like close the door and do this little hop skip. Like, okay, here we go. Like, I got a lesson plan. It was only about half the time, but
right. Other times we just listen to Newfound Glory on the media cart. But anyways,
I'm so glad you said that because that hop skip was so I could picture it vividly.
Right. So he hop skips into the classroom going, opinion, your voice is the soundtrack of my summer. Corny or awesome? And I was like, awesome. No one knew what he was talking about, and he was so stoked that like I got the reference, but no one else did.
Nice.
That's nice. That's every memory I have of this band.
Oh, but you don't remember even knowing it intimately, which you do seem to.
Dude, it's in my brain somehow. And I only remember listening. It might have been a single day. I listened to it 10 times in one English class. But like my only two memories are listening to it during a test, talking about it with Mr. B, and like playing it alone on my acoustic guitar. But I loved The Great Escape. I fucking love this song. And it has like an energy that was like, somehow they managed to do it without saying like, what's the A Day to Remember line? I hate this town. It's so washed up and all my friends don't give a like that was them just like brain dumping. But like, I feel like Boys Like Girls with Great Escape at least tried to like make a little more poetic, even though some of the lyrics, you know, felt a little lazy or whatever. But apparently the vocalist who wrote the song, it's about like leaving the town I grew up in with my best friends at my side. And it was essentially like a graduating high school song. And I don't know about you, Pat, I have never felt more authentic, unbridled joy than the first time leaving high school. And then maybe slightly less so leaving college, but I could feel like that anticipation of like, dude, it's the end of junior year, man. We're going on summer break. I just have to do this one more time, one more year. And like the song, especially the chorus, was just explodes out of this pretty rockin' verse of just like, yo, we're gonna be done and out of here like any minute. And I love the energy of it. I think it's a killer song. I do think that the scene did them dirty. Like, I don't think they were unique enough to like have the staying power, but like they had stuff that was interesting enough to have been relevant for more than just a couple songs, I think, anyways. And some of their numbers. Okay. So like some numbers real quick. First of all, Matt Squire produced, engineered, and mixed the record, with the exception of Tom Lord Alge mixed The Great Escape. U.S. Billboard Hot 100 number 23, Adult Top 40 hit number 20, and U.S. Mainstream Top 40 hit number 8, with the song going platinum. And again, dude, it says certification gold for Master Tone, which I think is a ringtone. 2 weeks in a row we've had ringtones go gold. I've never heard the concept of RIAA certifications on fucking ringtones, and I didn't even notice it until like just this very second. It says Master Tone, which I'm Googling it, RIAA. It seems like it's a ringtone thing.
It's funny you say that because I remember being at a baseball practice, and it was like that scene from Tommy Boy where David Spade and Chris Farley are, like, I won't turn it off if you won't. And it played on someone's phone really loud at a really quiet point in the practice, or like it was a huddle pre-practice while people were stretching, I guess, or something. And, you know, it's such a jarring note he hits, you know, like, I'm not gonna try to do it, but it comes out of nowhere, like range wise, because it's a pretty normal rock song to me until that point, and then it's just that doom moment of silence. You know, it's just like what? Anyway, the ringtone starts on that note, and it just comes in, and everyone knows the song,
right?
And they're looking around like normally in kind of a, I guess, setting where testosterone, you know, like you'd wait to be like, nice ringtone or something, you know, just like high school dumb stuff. But
everyone
no one
loved
said
it.
anything at all. You know what I mean? We're all looking around just like, because usually it was like a particular individual who kind of played into the role of the goof that would have had something worth, chiming about. Like he kind of reveled in the attention. Like it wasn't like a thing where it was like, oh man, maybe we shouldn't. It isn't bullying. It's just like this kid was like trying to get, enjoyed the limelight, I guess. He was playing it. Normally, I was half expecting everyone. Maybe I was just too, scared to ever express my opinion first, I guess, about any topic ever. But, everyone's just like totally cool with it. I was like, oh, shit, Boys Like Girls gets a pass. This is fucking shocking information.
I should verify this with James.
No, he wouldn't have been there. That would have been soccer, I think. So this was like kind of like a American Legion practice late in the summer with some like Northeast and Harbor Creek kids.
Ooh,
so it was like a weird, perfect mix just to see like regionally how boys of a certain age felt about this chorus.
And they loved it.
They didn't say shit. They fucking were vibing. And
pleasure.
I know. So I'm like, man, this is fascinating information.
Interesting. Okay.
I never dug into it, but obviously I was aware of the song. And it's hard to avoid that chorus and let it kind of the song kind of happen, let it happen to you, I guess, a little bit. But it's interesting you say the ringtone thing because it was kind of built to be a ringtone. I quickly found out that making your favorite songs your ringtone is bad because if you associate certain noises with waking up when you don't want to, it starts to fucking ruin it. I had the 4 Year Strong cover of Alanis Morissette's Ironic as my college freshman year ringtone, where it starts out all soft. And the goal was to wake up and hit the phone before it came in with the chorus. And they were like, it's like, wait. And so like, I knew my roommate was going to wake up if that part started playing over my phone, my little like flip keyboard thing. But anyway, I ended up hating that song and not listening to that album for like a long time. Anyway, neither here nor there. Great ringtone chorus.
I had Floorboards by Real Friends as my ringtone all of like 2012, like right when it came out. And yeah, that song became hard to listen to because I was waking up for my coffee shop job at like 3:30 in the morning to that song.
No. My biggest mistake was having Crush, Crush, Crush by Paramore be my first flip phone, my first real phone. And a lot of like, I hate to admit, teen underage drinking, waking up to that, like needing to get the car, like back when your body was an elastic rubber band and nothing, you could abuse it to no end and just fall and play sports all day and nothing would matter. You just wake up, eat 5 bowls of cereal for breakfast and, just it out by lunch type thing. But just be like, oh, I drank all night and had 2 hours of sleep and I'll just drive home and, whatever. I think I finally changed it after puking in a church bathroom during a mass. I think that's we don't have to go too deep into that story, but it was time for Crush, 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 my Crush, Crush, Crush days to be over. Anyway, it sucked because that's such a good song on one of my favorite albums. It was like, dang, I hate that I kind of associate this with not so good alarm usage needs. Anyway, this song was a delight, and I'm sure a lot of people had got good ringtone usage out of it. Or that, like when you called people and it played a song before while it was setting up to leave a message back when people still left messages.
The ringback tone. Oh man.
Yeah, you took advantage of those big time. I imagine a lot of people got joy.
I had a ton of them.
It was like the perfect time, like Panic at the Disco and Boys Like Girls came in and had 2 songs and we've talked about them back to back here that were built. These choruses are, I mean, it speaks to the choruses, right? Like it just fucking digs into you, man. That hook has that I don't know. I was trying to do a fishing thing, but I don't fish that often, so I don't know what words I'm supposed to use. But you are caught by the fisherman, that is the lead singer, and you are pulled to the boat and fried to death.
Jesus.
With its, I don't know, fishing. Anyway, it's good. The hooks it's fucking strong.
Yeah. Well, let's get into the video because
you should have cut me off. I was talking for a long time. I ended up talking about puking in a fucking church. Next time when I hit minute 7 of my ramble, you got to cut it out. Just give me some signals or something.
Itch my nose. Yeah. So there's right. Of course, there's no video.
Blink twice if I'm disrespecting the Lord.
Jesus Christ. Okay, so this music video is telling a story, right? And it is
it's any given 3 minutes of a Blink-182 music video.
That's so accurate. Oh my God.
Yeah. Is this a Boys Like Girls music video or is it any other Blink-182 music video with this song played over it?
So, okay.
Opening shot, kid in classroom, not learning anything.
We've got a lot going on, and I do want to like kind of talk about the overarching theme. We've talked a lot about like boy in point A, girl in point B, how do they get together? And this is like kind of a similar theme of like, but it's the boy and girl in point A trying to get to point B, and point B is the band playing a show, which we see all the time. Feeling this in Blink-182, Detroit by Fireworks. Like there's a ton of videos about people going to see the band, which I think is like this subliminal messaging of like, you also want to drop everything and pay money to see this band. Like it seems like such a conditioning like psychology experiment, but there's a little bit of a narrative here. Yeah, there's a girl in detention rolling her eyes. There's a girl at a grocery store putting some shopping carts away, and then the band is playing to a crowd are like the first three things that we see. And just friends getting ready for a show. And not much else happens. Like, that's kind of it.
So this is an introduction to the band music video.
Yes.
Everyone goes with their significant others to the show and has a nice time. What the hell are we supposed to learn about this band? You know what I mean?
So, and it gets like kind of confusing where like, all right,
also, there's so much fucking spaghetti.
So much spaghetti.
They wake up hungover. And they're like, we're the bad boy band. Look at all the spaghetti we didn't eat on the table. And then they wake up and go to a different place and have more spaghetti. Like, what the, like, okay, we get it. You don't have a huge food budget, but okay, maybe you're a little too heavy on the spaghetti. You know, like, okay, we get it. You've eaten spaghetti in the last 24 hours before the show.
So here's my question. All right. They wake up, they're hungover, dude's brushing his teeth. So it's like, oh, we're recovering.
Why is there always a toothbrushing scene?
Wasn't there one in Gives You Hell?
Yeah, there was one in Gives You Hell. There's one in Phantom Planets, California, where they're like, oh, look at these ragtag group of teens drinking Jack Daniels out of the bottle like real rockers. But they took some time to brush their teeth before they, you know, left the house for the day. It's just like, why is that always a fucking part of the, like, establishing a bad boy image? Like, look at all the spaghetti and oral hygiene. Like, I'm like, what am I? I'm learning nothing about this fucking band.
Do you think Big Dentist has their claws in the pop punk music video industry?
I think the industry's rife with fluoride, and I don't know, the science isn't in on whether or not that's a good or bad thing. There's really nothing to prove either way, so it's kind of like maybe it's a non sequitur. Who can really know? But I don't know. Yeah, I think big. You know what? Big. Yeah, you knew that was going to set me off, and it took me a minute to realize what you were trying to do. Dentistry is a scam. It's bullshit. Braces are bullshit. Everything's bad. Flossing shoves more food into your gums. I've had nothing but strife from advice given to me by dentists throughout my life. It's all fucking awful. And I hate it. I hate that things can go wrong from trying at it. You know, it's so yeah. Is that what you wanted, Tom? Is that what you wanted?
I feel better about
my braces pulled
now.
My teeth together, so to even get floss in between them, I have to I accidentally am shoving stuff up into my gums, and then it just rots my mouth out from the inside. Then I need more crowns that end up just falling out every 8 months, which is something they don't tell you. It's like, all right, this is a fucking dumb Thanksgiving without half my teeth. Like, I don't know. Anyway.
Anyways.
Yeah, thank you.
So here's my question.
Tom was fishing for that, so I had tried to give it to him. Yeah, go ahead.
Here's my question. So it shows them hungover, and then they're immediately back at a friend's house with an entire pot full of spaghetti. Is it a flashback to the night before? Dude, it is like up to the brim with spaghetti, dude.
So much. Like, I didn't want to spend too much time, but it's too much spaghetti. Like, it's too much spaghetti for them not to have continued making it about like a spaghetti joke, like a Tim and Eric spaghetti thing. Like, it's a disturbing amount. Yes. I think it's like a pre-show gathering, like meet and greet. You know, like, hey, we're going to have a good time tonight. We'll have some food. Not good food, not great food, but we're teens. It's good. It's food. And, you know, put some Parmesan grated cheese on it and have a show, a clean show with some Coca-Colas. Everyone bring their girlfriends and boyfriends.
Oh, yeah.
We'll do a couple hand checks midway to make sure we're not having too much fun here, but get home everybody safe in the night. And yeah, I'm not sure what image, especially if they're trying to break the whole band name that leads them to believe they're just trying to be sold in a Hot Topic at the mall type thing. I don't know, like, cute is what we aim for and stuff. If they were a band that was too good for what ended up happening to them after one album, one hit, really. I don't know what they're trying to show us in this video. You know what I mean? Like even Mayday Parade had like a second video where they're fake robbing a city and like they had that glitzy Vegas video, and then they came back with another video where they were just like had bandanas on and they were wreaking havoc in like a riot situation, trying to self-correct the maybe polished image. I just really don't know what boys, especially if they were fighting against kind of a overly radio-friendly chorus to begin with, unless they didn't care, and I guess I'm just not sure what we were supposed to get from this band, and maybe there was no distinct image, and that's why they didn't necessarily have a ton of staying power anyway. I'm sorry that I walked through this in real time, but
no.
It's just too pleasant of a time. These kids escape high school for the great escape. Because like when you're listening to the song, you're envisioning like, what was your great escape? You know what I mean? Like let's take the world over. And you and I have a bunch of times on the show told the story about the time we, took a car down to DC overnight, and that seemed like huge teen rebellion. But these people just have a nice, pleasant night out, I guess.
Right. It's like not great enough of a story for to merit the great.
And it's not
escape.
even really an escape. They appear to wait until the bell rings in class. Like there's no. At least in the Blink videos, they are cutting class, or it seems that way anyhow. I guess, you know what I mean? Like
one of my favorite parts of the video that kind of adds to like the kind of muddled storyline is like early on, there's a girl at a grocery store who's like the shopping cart girl. She's putting a cart away and a guy walks through the frame and she smiles at him like she has a crush on him. And then a few seconds later, she's like getting out of work. She's running through the parking lot of the grocery store, and she runs by the guy that she had just smiled at. And you're like, oh, clearly they're going to like end up together. The guy waves to her and she just runs right by him and doesn't even acknowledge him. And it's like, what's the point of like that sexual tension glare from before when none of the girls even end up with any of the guys? It seems like they're trying to like push the narrative in a certain way, but it never develops to that. I feel like there's a lot of, maybe they're trying to break all of the other tropes of like, oh, the girls are going there to hook up with the guys, but then like just other guys show up throughout the video that I don't think are any of the guys from the beginning. It's all very confusing. I can't tell if it's a good thing for the story that it doesn't follow the traditional tropes of this kind of thing. But yeah, I mean, basically
here's some twisted stuff. Here's where the bad boy image comes in.
Okay.
They feed a 3-legged dog they find in the middle of the desert, and then they don't give us any hint as to whether or not they kept and saved the dog. That dog could just be dead in the desert, for all we know. Like, that's such an odd thing to include.
Right, and they just stopped for lunch in this parking lot with a 3-legged dog around.
It's like, hey, there's a crippled animal. Let's torture it for a bit and then head to the show.
I don't think they were torturing it, dude. Spaghetti.
Like, hey, come here, boy. Here's some food. We're never going to take care of you ever again. Good luck, dog. Bye. I thought it was so twisted and weird. There's the bad boy image, but then you're getting into animal abuse, and it's like, why? That's wrong. That's not even like fun bad. That's just evil bad.
And then the girls start littering as a map falls out of their hands on the highway, and it's just so charming that like everyone has GPS on their phone now. Like you would never be in a position where you'd have a full map out in a convertible for it to fly out the window. And I mean, we did that on our trip to DC. We just had like a paper atlas, but yeah. And then,
let's be honest, we weren't actually reading successfully, but it was open.
Right. And, the band's goofing around in their van and everyone's driving somewhere. And it gets confusing that the band is driving to a gig they're already at. Is like, that got a little confusing. Yeah, I don't know. I had some qualms about that.
Here's another confusing part. If we're just talking about how we're not quite sure what this video is trying to accomplish and there's some plot holes, is there a wardrobe change for the lead singer midway through? He's just wearing a sweater all of a sudden.
Okay, so this is my impression of the whole video. We see these disconnected people all getting ready for something. All the girls end up in one place. They're off to their great escape. The band is traveling, having a good time. And at the end, there's stuff to still talk about in the middle, but at the end, they end up at the same show. The band and the girls are both going to the same show. But what is the show we've already been watching for the past 2.5 minutes? So the wardrobe change comes from the band arriving at the show and performing, but it gets confusing because the venues, I think they're in the same place. Like, it would have made more sense if the performance shots before the band got there were in like a rehearsal space, right? So it was like, oh, they're getting ready for the show, rather than they're already at the show, but why are they going to the show? Now they're at the same place. The girls are there, but they're wearing something different. It's just it's a little confusing.
I agree. And I have a couple more notes, I guess, about what would have made it maybe a little more realistic. Instead of the spaghetti, they should have hidden outside of a Little Caesars and waited for them to close and throw out all the hot and ready's they'd already made. Because that was a legitimate DIY scene, like method of feeding yourself, right?
Oh, yeah.
It's not like the pizzas were going to fly out of the box and land in the dumpster. Like, if you got them, like sometimes in Wesleyville, I would watch the people, or we did this ourselves. We would just watch them throw them out, and they'd be like, I can't just hand them to you guys. I have to technically throw them out. So it's like,
right.
But yeah, back when Hot and Ready's were new and real and fun and fresh, there was a lot of really good pizzas that they would just toss at the end of the night.
Not just throughout the day as well. They had a time limit, so they would just set them on top of the dumpster.
When you toured with Run Forever, that was a legitimate part of your day, correct?
Yeah, we ate dumpster pizzas for 2 weeks. Every day.
Yeah, I don't know if you had Tupperware to like save it appropriately or anything like that, but like, it was spaghetti. The spaghetti's bugging me. I know I've just for like 40 minutes now been like, the spaghetti was kind of up. That's really my main takeaway from this, other than the fact that it was a beautiful song and it spread like wildfire and was perfect ringtone, crazy catchy. The band was probably better than how most of the Neon Era bands got treated, which is one song, a trip on Warped Tour, and then they kick you out the door once your t-shirt stopped selling at Hot Topic or whatever. It was kind of like the machine had run itself out of energy by that point, and Mumford & Son was ready to go on everyone's faces. But, it did. Boys Like Girls, the name didn't help.
Yeah,
but the music should have. It's like, I don't know why I'm thinking of Cartel, but that song. Not that it was as good as Chroma, but it was. Was it? I don't know what I'm trying to do. Like the song was really like. Do you think they're close? That album was closer to Chroma or closer to "Cute Is What We Aim For's album that had Curse of Curves on it, for example? Like, was it closer to something that was you consider a classic of the decade, or something that was late in the decade and a little weak overall?
The song or the album?
The album.
I mean, I think the album...
I guess I'm saying, did the world do them dirty, or are they just what we think they are? I think is the ultimate thing we're trying to answer on this show today.
I think they deserved more respect and notoriety than they received. I will say probably not much more, and I don't think that they should have been...
Because they were very popular. Maybe they received the amount of fame that they demanded. I'm not sure, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's interesting that, they're not thought of as like an album band, as maybe just the song, but I don't know. I haven't talked to people about this band since junior year of high school.
I'm surprised in the notes you didn't want to talk more about the note at the beginning of the chorus. I don't know if it's auto-tuned or what, but it is jarring to me. It's like, what is happening? You're like, oh, it's good, but it's like, wow. And it's like, get drunk and drive around. Right. Goodbye, we got one more night. And then he just explode screams into the ether. And it's like, oh my God. It's very catchy. It's hard not to sink in.
I think it would have been probably better if there was a little bit of grit to it, but it was such a clean, throaty high note that it was kind of like, it almost seemed like very feminine, which is like the tight shirts and the hair. I'm sure that, just the fact that it was a guilty pleasure held them back, because there was a locker room full of guys that didn't want to admit they love this song.
Right. It was so good. And I think I listen back to our shows sometimes, and I don't want the world to think we're just doing this to shit on bands, because obviously we loved it. It was like one of the best songs of our high school career.
Yeah.
We happen to be a junior and a senior in years where, the era is what the era is. You know what I mean? We didn't grow up in Florida the day Newfound Glory got famous. We didn't grow up in Arizona the day Jimmy Eat World played their First Basement show. We grew up in neither of those places when Boys Like Girls was getting ringtones downloaded a lot. That was like just with the fucking cards we were dealt, which is why we started the show, to try to work through whether or not it was a cool thing to be proud of or whatever. Sometimes it is, sometimes it isn't. I don't want to say it isn't in this case, just because it was a really good song. But I guess hopefully people who were with us last week and this week with Panic at the Disco kind of have that mixed taste in your mouth a little bit when you first read what the band name even says with the punctuation and everything. You're just kind of like, things are changing. You know, this is a different thing than it was back when, you know, it's, I don't know. There's just so much going on, I guess. Like, we're officially in the latest, weirdest part of the scene where it's not influences anymore. It has, I don't know. The band's kind of, maybe they all seem the same a little bit, and it seemed a little more commercial. I don't know. It was our prime of high school, so it feels weird to look back and be like, oh, the young kids enjoyed something worse, because we were those young kids. And I guess I'm trying to acknowledge both that I enjoyed it, but that it was also very strange in real time as well as in retrospect. Does that make sense? I guess that's kind of my closing thought, I guess, is
yeah,
I'm as confused now as I was then, but I can admit that it was a great song. I liked it. But
Here's two fast facts or fun facts that I forgot to mention that might shed a little bit more light on the issue. I didn't know this, but this was the song used in the official trailer for the Disney film Tangled, which again probably did help their image with the tough baseball guys who wanted to. But
probably made them
song.
a ton of money, because our friend Zach and I, there was a summer where we both stayed home after pretty bad breakups, and there was only 2 movies we watched that summer because I was helping him do his masonry job. And we would write songs, send them to you, and they were awful recording quality and maybe songwriting quality. But we would watch Crocodile Dundee, which was on repeat on like TNT that summer. And his sister had just bought the Tangled DVD, his younger sister. So we'd watch those 2 movies on repeat. And Tangled actually kind of rips. So, but it's interesting that you say that, because it speaks to the commercial success, right?
Oh, yeah. And the video was #1 on MTV's Total Request Live for 9 days in a row in the summer and fall of 2008. So,
damn, had to have been the last fucking season for Total Request Live, right?
I don't know, dude, but like, okay, people were not talking about this band, but they clearly, it was like people were afraid to love this band because it was like, it's like one thing.
But that's what makes it so cloudy, Tom, is that there were t-shirts everywhere on our dress down days. So maybe it was in plain sight, but then why did they drift away so quickly?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If it was real, I don't know, like, I just need you to tell me it was real.
No, I mean, again, you know, sometimes when I'm going back to the episode, I'm editing it and you're listening, it's like, damn, we were kind of harsh on this thing that we really love.
Dude, I want to redo Cartel. I want to redo so many episodes. I just feel bad. I feel bad for people who are giving us stuff playfully, because we enjoy interacting with you guys on Twitter, but, you know, for dissing All Time Low a little bit during our Dear Maria music video. But that music video is a shit show. And just it doesn't mean we don't like it. But it's a mess.
Yeah, I mean, there's things that we're like critical of, but we still fucking love it. And I still think as muddy as this video was, also the fact that at the end the main girl is holding hands with a guy. I can't even tell who she's holding hands with because the fucking YouTube cards are blocking the entire dude's face. I don't even know who she ends up with at the end. So that makes it a little confusing as well. But it's still a good video, and I think it's confusing, but it captures some kind of energy of like, yo, these girls are like finally getting out of this place they've been waiting to like get out of for a while. They're in this Mustang convertible and they're just ripping down the highway. And like that feeling as a teen, nothing can be better than that. So like, even if it's a little confusing and whatever, I still get those vibes of like last day of high school. I never have to be here again. I'm leaving this fucking town. It still gives me that feeling. And you know, it's kind of like, whatever, you made a platinum song that has kind of an okay but confusing video. Whatever. I'm glad it exists. I don't want to come off like I'm shit-talking.
I almost wish the song would play over the Roller Coaster by the Bleachers music video. That's a good driving away from a place video.
I don't know it.
Damn it. I thought you did. I thought it was like a distinct thing we've enjoyed together. Anyway, songs of the week.
Yeah, let's do it. I'm back on some like synthwave stuff. The song Anomaly by Unfound off the title track of an album. Still getting, I might have actually said that a couple weeks ago. I don't know. I've been putting it on. I'm trying to like listen to something other than Four Hill because he's just like one of my favorite artists at the moment. And that's been something I've been listening to on and off with Harm's Way and Wage War, a little bit of synthwave in between my tough guy hardcore stuff. So yeah, it's a good one. Pretty chill vibe.
Nice. Okay, so this week my song of the week is Waxahachie Fire off the album St. Cloud, I believe. It's so good, so smooth from earlier this year, I should say. I don't know if I pronounced the name of the band right, but Fire's super smooth. It's been on repeat, I think, for 2 full weeks at this point. I just love it. Okay. Silky smooth, so good, very catchy, good singer-songwriter, guitar work stuff. I would recommend it, especially as things continue to be chaotic. It is smooth and goes down smooth and is just a nice album. First half of the album, I've yet to work through the whole thing. But yeah, very good, tremendous, just really super tremendous. So yeah, that's my song of the week. And both my computer and phone are about to die as we hang up. So should be a fun race to not lose all this audio. But yeah. It's been a pleasure. Thanks for joining us, everybody. Sorry if we got contentious about the all-time low stuff, Jeremy, who is one of our buds from Twitter. Adrian, back me up. I need your help. Just kidding. Okay, bye, everybody. Love you.
Love you all. Bye. Hey, everybody. Thank you so much for being here. What a weirdly awesome song. I'm not afraid to admit it, and I hope you are not either. Stay tuned for next week because we're going to be doing a really exciting Great Escape road trip mixtape draft where we're going to be talking about if we were on the best road trip of our lives, what are the songs we would bring along, make sure we have loaded onto our 4-gig iPod mini. So make sure you're subscribed to the show and tell a friend. Hit us up on Twitter @_reminiscentfm. We love you all. Stay safe, and we'll talk to you next week. Bye.